Hello and welcome. This video is a review of the Handicap Snip Software selections for 2018 with a look at the results and some look into the background of how it all came about and looking forward to what we can expect in the future. First thing I want to say is I'd like to extend my thanks to Anthony Perkins, who's been assisting with the spreadsheet generation, for managing the databases and for producing the results that we're going to look at on these superb spreadsheets. I'm sure you'll all agree when you look at them, and I do encourage you all to download the spreadsheets and to have a good perusal of everything that's gone on. We have attempted to be as transparent as possible. All of these selections in 2018 have been proofed to the Secret Betting Club, which is a proofing organisation. They have changed their name to the Smart Betting Club now, but it's the same people. So they have been tracking, they have been subscribed to the list and getting the emails on a daily basis, and they agree that everything I'm saying is correct. Just wanted to let you know that. The other thing I want to bring to your attention is that the piece of software I had designed, it interacts with the Racing Post database. Recruited the developer and gave him a specification for what it had to do. The software mimics the Handicap Snip methodology. It does the hard number crunching part of it. From that, it produces a report for each race, and under certain criteria, I will take the highest rated from that report and make it a selection. Sometimes there are no qualifiers if they don't reach a high enough rating. Unfortunately, what that means is the software is dependent on the Racing Post database, and they have got a habit of regularly making alterations to the way that their data is presented in the Racing Post database. And when they do make those changes, it has caused the software tool that I've got to fall over and to no longer function. At that point, I've been running developers saying, help, please come and fix it. Because I wanted to encourage people to sign up, and I then could not have a situation where the developer was away for a week or 2 weeks and he wouldn't respond, which in fact did happen in 2017. So what I've done is I put him on a retainer fee to ensure that he will provide support at the earliest opportunity as soon as I contact him. I do also have to pay him for his time, but by paying him the retainer, when I then send a message through saying help, software not working, he will come back ASAP. Okay, so that is added some additional cost, which is reflected in the fact that I will be asking for a subscription to receive the selections in future to help cover those substantial costs. And the more changes there are in the database and the more interventions he has to make, the higher the costs will be. But I won't pass those on. I will set a subscription fee for the month or the season, and that will be it. Okay, so let's have a look at the results for 2018. This first spreadsheet, I do encourage you to download all the spreadsheets and to have a look at them. This first spreadsheet for 2018, it starts with the first day was the 5th of May 2018, and there's 189 days in the database with 1,236 selections and an average of 6.5 a day. 115 of those selections won at a strike rate of 9%, and it made a loss of 11.7%, representing minus 144 points at Betfair SP, and that's not too promising. However, we did, based on the 2017 trial results, we applied filters from the very start to reduce the number of bets and to try to eliminate as many losing selections without losing many winners. And we'll have a look at that shortly. And you can see immediately, if we just have a look at one thing before we look at the filtered spreadsheet. For example, if we come down here and look at this is just one of the many factors that we've analysed to determine where the profitability is this is the days since last run. So the horse has been selected by the software, and then you have a look at how many days since it last had a run, and we can see of the horses which were selected which had not had a racecourse appearance from 51 days or more, there were in fact something like 150 selections, 155 I believe it is, 155 selections that had not appeared for 51 days or more, and of those only 2 managed to win, and they made a level stakes loss of over 140 points. And if we come back to the summary, we can see that just eliminating those horses there would have improved our results back to almost break even. But there are other filters that we applied as well, which also improved the profitability, and we'll have a look at that sheet now. So as it says here, these selections are unfiltered. Right, let's have a look at the next spreadsheet. Now this spreadsheet here is the filtered spreadsheet, and these are the bets that we actually sent out by email from the 5th of May. And there's an explanation here on the spreadsheet about what the filters are and when they started. So after a couple of weeks or so, we twigged that the horses which had not run for 40 days or more were doing badly. We started cutting them out, and so on. So we applied these different filters, and at the 26th of August, we completely changed the filters to include only filter number 3 and filter number 5, plus a new meta-analysis looking at previous performance last time out, which led us to be able to eliminate more runners, and we call this the snip rules. Anyway, so this is the actual advised bets. So we started off again with the same 182 bets, 182 days, sorry, 577 selections, that's at an average of just over 3 a day, 75 winners, and the strike rate improved to 13%. And this now produced, over those 182 days, a level stakes profit after commission at Betfair SP of 60 points for a return of investment of 10.5%. Longest losing run was 33. These are the actual results that we sent out, and we can look at various factors that we've looked at in here. Days since last run is very important. Okay, again. However, from the 26th of August, we've got another spreadsheet, which is here. Now, this spreadsheet here looks at only those results which were advised using the new snip rules from the 26th of August. And we can see, for instance, that on all the categories that we've applied, which was last run 40 days or less, each of those is now profitable. So we only have 70 days in the database, 100 bets, just under 1.5 bets on average a day, 17 winners for a strike rate of 17%, and a Betfair SP profit after commission of 91 points for a 91% return of investment. Now, of course, that's a very small sample, so we can't rely on that. And, you know, we've got to wait to next year to get a bigger sample to determine whether it's going to be profitable. However, in order to get a warm feeling about what would have happened had we applied these rules from the very beginning, that's exactly what we did. Was we took the raw data from the raw spreadsheet and applied the snip rules, these rules, to that sheet. And we call this snip rules since day one. So here we go, we've got the 182 days in the database as before. But by applying these rules, we would have now ended up with only 388 selections, with many more eliminated, but we're still going to end up with 80 winners, averaging just over 2 bets a day. The strike rate would have gone up to 21%, and we would have made a massive 356 points profit for a return on investment of 91.9%. And this would be above expectation, 1.62, which says we've got a massive statistical advantage. Okay, we are aware that, you know, there are possible issues, so we're not counting our chickens. We're still being extremely diligent in tracking everything that's going on. What we're going to do is in 2019, we're going to offer this as a daily email service where you're going to get you'll get the raw data and the average selections of 2 advised bets per day, so that we're completely open about what we're filtering out. We will monitor and track all the data. And what we're going to suggest you do is that you have a dedicated betting bank, especially for this service. And you're going to need to start off with probably 100 points with possibly a 50-point reserve. I don't know. We'll have to work on that. But I would want to make sure that you've got plenty of security against the long losing run. 27 here. It could be longer. Okay, so it can get demoralising if the losing run continues for a long time. However, if this kind of strike rate, if anything like this kind of strike rate can be reproduced, you know, even at half of that profit, it's still going to be extremely good. So that's what the service is going to be. As I said earlier, there are significant costs involved in providing this. So I will be asking for a subscription, and the more people who can get to subscribe, the lower we can get the rate down to for the entire season. In fact, feedback about how much you'd be prepared to pay for such a service will also help us. Okay, now to move on, we have also done a trial on chasers and hurdlers, and we've also collected a few hundred races for each. We have to analyse the chasers, and we've got a pretty good feeling about what constitutes a sound bet and where we should be giving them a wide berth. And the chasers in particular are looking very promising, and we will be sending that out. We haven't done the handicap hurdlers yet in detail, so we don't know how to filter those yet. The software, the methodology was never designed for chasers and hurdlers. We're applying it to see whether it will produce results, and it doesn't look too bad on the chasers, so that's something to look forward to, and we'll be offering that as a option to subscribe for the winter season very shortly. We're going to be asking you for a small contribution, because I will be retaining the developer throughout the winter all the way up until the start of the flat season. And I imagine we'll start somewhere around, well, we will start at the beginning of the flat season, because there's, after the Lincoln meeting at the end of March, there's not much flat racing then for about 3 weeks. So we will start as soon as the flat gets going, and I'm going to invite you to subscribe and take part in that next year. And my advice is save up a decent sized bank, divide it by 100 at least, maybe 125, and we'll take it from there. I hope that's been of interest to you, and I look forward to exciting times ahead, because if we can get anywhere near this kind of profitability, then everybody should be able to make fantastic profits next year. And hopefully, if the chasers and hurdlers do the same, that would really be something special. Thanks for listening now, and I'll speak to you all very soon about the chase and hurdlers service.